So guys, welcome to the stream, to the live session. So eventually, if you have any problem with the sound, just let me know. Okay. Okay, I hope that the sound is doing well. You guys should give me. So if you guys are hearing me, okay, for now nobody's watching. Okay. So hello. So now today we're going to talk about continue with journey. Ah, pretty tired. I put it like this. I think it's better. Okay. Close this guy and pin it. Okay. Okay. Is anyone in the chat? you guys getting me keenly? Okay, that being said, let us begin. I wanted to greet you guys, but so if you want, so okay. Now today we're going to learn about understanding effects and referencing value in React. So the first thing here is how do we reference value using ref? Okay, it's pretty long, but we got it. I got it. So for any question, I'm using the free CodeCamp curriculum to learn my code. So let us start. So in React, there may be situation where you need to direct access to the DOM element. So that's true. Because eventually, if you didn't know, is in React, this thing's disturbing me. Guys, you guys should give me a moment. A moment. I'm coming back. So guys, I'm back. If you're inside the live, please don't forget to like and subscribe and so on and so forth, for so that the live should be supported by the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, and so that we can share more value to more people, and so and so and so and so. Okay. So now let us do it. So what I was saying is that normally in React, we know that I really have problem with this stuff. Like if I put it too down, I will not be able. You put guys will not get me keenly. If I put it up, it will be difficult for me to type. So I think like this. A bit taller. Okay. So in React, okay. So in React, we know that in React we use virtual DOM. That's just it is a lightweight copy of the copy of the um, of the real DOM. Let me say it like that. So how is it being used? For example, in React state, when there's a change in state or a change of the initial variable, the React operates in three stages, which is the commit. So the first stage is trigger stage, render stage, and commit stage. So basically, in the commit stage, we take the information from the virtual DOM so as to update the real DOM easily. So we update only the parts in the real DOM that have been changed. So that's just it. So now they're saying that in React, there's some situation where we need to access ref come in handy. So refs can also store mutable values, but state is better choice for that. So states are immutable, so that's very important to know. States are immutable in React, so it's not allowed to mutate states in React. So in vanilla JavaScript, you use get by ID and query selector methods to access DOM elements, but in React, we use ref to access element in the DOM. Okay. One of the main difference is that with ref, you don't need identifiers like IDs and classes to reference element. That's true. That is true. That's true. Because when I was learning JavaScript, I'm still learning JavaScript. When I was learning JavaScript, you had to like make sure that you know the class name, the classes, the class name, and the ID of the element that you want to access. So, so how can you create and use ref? React provide use ref hook that lets you do that. So the first step here is to import it as usual, and the next step is to create a variable that holds the ref with the initial value of the ref inside the use ref hook. Say section, let's say section ref initialize to null. Okay, so we call it initialize it to null. The final thing to do is to attach ref variables to the element of your GSS by using ref. Okay, so what I know now is that ref is used to access elements in the real DOM. So DOM is domain object model. Alright. So here's the syntax for ref. Battery is low. If you log the ref to the console, you will see it as an object with the current value, in this case null. Okay, interesting. You can also log the current value to the console with current property so you can see the value directly. Okay. For example, the initial value of section ref will always be null because that's what it was initialized to. So after the component is mounted, the value of ref will be the section element the ref is attached to. Okay, So if the component is unmounted, the ref value goes back to the initial value of null. Okay, it's not that clear. A typical example to showcase ref is to focus an input element on render by clicking a button. Okay, let's say for example, here's the example. So we imported ref, use ref, sorry, and here is a component. Let me see. So here is a component. The component name is focus. So now in focus we use input ref, and there is a small function that helps us to handle focus. And yeah, so basically here is an input text placeholder, and as I can see there's a button element. So every time that we click on button, we call the function. So this is a reference to this function, which checks if the input ref, here's it, correct, is not a falsy value. If it is a truthy value, then we get access, we take ref, we get access to the current value, and we get access. What is this focus for? I don't know. What is focus for? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Hello. Wow, that's many messages. Sorry, I was a little bit concentrated. What? Basically, to learn codes. Hello, Rack the Great. Okay, nice to meet you. So basically, to learn codes, you just need to first of all know what you want to do. So that's it. So if you know what you want to do, you will know how to learn the code. So for example, there are many sections in code. So there are many, how can I say it? There are many sections in codes in development. So for example, there are many parts. That was the right word. So for example, there's web development, mobile development, cloud development, uh, and so on, AI development, and so on and so forth. So you first of all choose what you want to do, in which part you want to work, and then you're gonna look for the resources. Now, so the best way to learn, as usual, no matter what you're learning, is to teach somebody else. That's it. Or for example, to learn out loudly as I'm doing here in the chat. So I hope that my answer was clear and it helped you. And the third way is to subscribe to my channel, because I'll be doing interesting video about coding, how to learn how to code, how to master coding. Practice, 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 practice. That's it. Practice, 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 practice. That's why coding jobs are well paid, because to master the skill of coding, it really takes time. So it's not like learning English. It really takes time, because you are literally learning another language. So you are learning how to communicate in another language so that a computer can easily understand what you want to do. So what are the results? So since like for languages, speaking languages, you have to practice, same as for coding languages. I hope that my answer was clear. So now let us continue. Mm, guys, I'm not seeing the chat, so let me just put the chat here so I can see it. Okay. Is building project by seeing YouTube video initially makes me good? Personally, many people speak about this problem of um, I think this tutorial here stuff, but I think that for a beginning, when you just freshly learn the syntax of a programming language, you need to learn how we use this syntax to create something interesting. And the best way to do that is to do tutorial. And the problem with tutorial is that is when you already do tutorial that you enter the tutorial here, and that's a big problem. So you do some tutorial and start building your own project personally. That's it. So basically that's it. So now let's continue. Now, as I said, on click, as you guys have seen, I don't have Instagram, but if you want to contact me, check my Discord group or in my profile, in my YouTube profile section, and you will see it. You will see the link to the Discord group or my LinkedIn if you want to contact me. WhatsApp, it's a little bit too personal, so let's first of all go on Discord or LinkedIn. But happy to meet you. Happy to meet you. All handle function does function call is the focused method on the input element. Note that because input is a built-in component that comes with React. It's true, but okay. Dumb. LinkedIn. Let me just see if I can send you. Sorry. Guys, give me a minute. Yes, my LinkedIn. Yes, my LinkedIn. You want to contact me, go there. So now let us continue. So we basically on, but personally, I'm not understanding what is this ref doing. So how is it helping us? Because we know that it's helping us to access elements in the real domain, so in the real DOM, and normally, which is something that is not usual in React, because React is using basically this virtual DOM. So, so now they're saying that, so you call the focus method with input current focus. Okay, what is it doing? Here are some best practice you should be aware of while working with ref. I don't know the use. Ask ChatGPT the use of this focus stuff. I don't know if there's any guy from freeCodeCamp here. Guys, just note it. So what's the use? The use of focus with and explain with an example. So explain with an example. So focus is a built-in method that sets the keyboard focus to an element. Okay, usually it's used on elements that can accept inputs like input, text area, and so on and so forth. So basically what's happening here is this set focus in the input. Okay, I see now. So we want, so the thing here is we want to set focus on the input. We want to set focus on the input element. And to do that, we need this array need to access, we need to access the element, access the element in which is in the real inside the DOM. So to do that, we use the input ref. So that's it. I understand now. So we go through the input ref to access and so as to be able to use the function focus. It's pretty clear. So let me just ask, is it clear? So input ref, so we go through the input ref to be able to access the input element and connect to it a function, and connect to it the, let's say, the function, so the built-in DOM function focus. Exactly, so I got it right. Let us continue. We were talking of best practices. So best practices is, use ref mainly to interact with the DOM. You can also use them for mutable data, but state is better choice for that. Okay, I understand. Don't use ref for basic state management. That is what useState is for. Okay. Make sure you check ref current exists before accessing its properties before. Here's how you do it. Okay. With this if statement. So prevent errors in case of ref, and prevent errors in the case of ref is accessed. This prevents errors in case the ref is accessed before it's attached to the DOM and after it's removed. Okay. So guys, we shall try and answer this question. I want to give myself a challenge to answer all the question in less than 1 minute to see how good I am. So here's the timer. There are 3 questions. I'm pretty sure that I'll get all of them correct because I basically really understood what it's about here. So if there's anyone that just joined the chat, welcome. I'm really happy that you joined the live. Welcome. I'm really happy that you're here. So let me try. 1 minute. Let us go. Bap. How can you create and use ref in React? By importing and using the useState wrong. By importing, yes, correct. What does the ref looks like if you lock it into the console? An object with a current property, correct. A primitive value like string or number, wrong. A function that tracks component state, wrong. All lists of DOM nodes, which is wrong. What is the value of the ref after the component is mounted? The props of the component, a random value generated by JavaScript, wrong. Always known, that's wrong. The DOM element reference is the DOM element the ref is attached to, that's correct. So we got it. Let's check. Woo! That's right. So, summarily, ref is used to access element in the real DOM. Punct. That's it. Before doing that, we have to initialize the ref and call it inside there and attach it. That's it. Attach it into our function. Hi, Rohan. Sorry. So basically, I think that I have to block you. Come back when you're serious. So let's go on to the next topic, which is React. What are React effects in React, and how does the use effect hook work? Okay, till now I know already two hooks: use ref and use state. So now let us continue. I don't like this spamming stuff, guys. So now in React, an effect is anything that happens outside the component ranging the code, the process, ranging process. So that is anything React does not handle directly as part of rendering the UI. So common examples include fetching data, updating the browser tabs title, reading from or writing to the browser's local storage, getting the user's location, much more. So let's start it back. Hi, Ashif. Hope you're doing well. Um, React effects is anything that happens outside of the component rendering process. Okay, very important. So React provide hook effect tool to let you handle those side effects. Use effects lets you run a function after a component renders or update. Okay, so let us see how use effect hook work. Thank you. Work and why it is essential for modern React development. So to use useEffect hook, you need to first of all import it as usual and use the useEffect. So personally, I would think that when I was learning this useEffect on Scrimba, it was better. Someone I understood better. It was faster. So let me continue. Um, Here's the syntax. Yeah, effect logic here. Dependencies. So the effect function runs after the component render, while the optional dependency argument controls when the effect runs. So note that dependencies can be an array of reactive values, state, props, function, variable, so on and so forth. An empty array omitted or omitted entirely. So they're saying that we can omit this guy. Here is how all of those options control how useEffect works. So if dependency is an array that includes one or more reactive values, the effect will run whenever they change. Okay, I see. If the dependency is an empty array, useEffect runs only once when the component first render. Okay. If you omit dependencies, the effect runs every time the component render or update. So for example, in the counter application, we don't pass in the dependency argument, so the effect runs when the component renders and every time it's update. Okay, guys, give me a minute. So now let us work on this guy and look at this. So here is a counter state and here is a use effect. It's not a little bit clear. Hmm. So let us say, for example, if you pass the count state as dependency, the effect runs, when the component first render and when the count changes. So note that if the effect you set up persists beyond the component rendering lifecycle, you might need another function to clean it up, or the set interval function. So, for example, clean up logic and so on and so forth. For instance, you add a stroll event listener. You can clean it up by removing it in your cleanup function. Okay. Wait. Okay. What is considered an effect in React? Any update to the component state wrong? Operation outside the ranging process that React does not manage. That's correct. What determines how side effects run in React apps? Um, Effects always run once regardless of dependencies. Wrong. Effects run only when the props change ignoring state. When props change ignoring state. Wrong. The dependency array determines when the effect wrong. That's right. What are common examples of side effects in React? Ranging component and updating state, wrong. Passing props to child component, which is wrong. Defining component style, fetching, updating tabs titles, reading from storage. That's correct. How can you how can you create custom hooks in React? Interesting. Let me see this cream bar stuff and see. So now let us learn how to create custom React. So React provide many built-in hooks that lets you implement different features in your project that that thing I knew already. But sometimes you need to add a feature that none of the built-in hooks can help with it. So fortunately, you can create your own custom hook. To do that, custom hook are not as complicated as they might seem. Okay, how you can import hook, use any component. Okay, let's go. So if your custom look fetches data, you can call use fetch, use toggle, use the bounce. It's a good name. Okay, I see. So every time that you create a custom, you want to create a custom hook, you basically, so you basically have to use the word custom for conventional reasons. So let us say you want to build a custom hook to add debouncing in your app. So debouncing is a programming technique that limits how often a function runs. It works by waiting until the user stops performing an action for a specified period of time before executing the function. For example, in a search box, instead of making an API call for every keystroke, debouncing waits until the user pauses typing for say 5 milliseconds. Oh, I see. For example, when I want to Google something, let me see my name, Alan. There's already a search. See, so maybe he's making an API call for every keystroke. Let me say one. Is there? Two. Is there? Three. Is there? Does not exist. So I really understand. So to create a debounce custom hook, you need first to create a use this bounce JS or use this bounce JS JSX or use JS. Conventionally, files for any custom hook you create are saved in the hooks folder. Okay, I see. You can use some built-in hooks within your own custom hook for debouncing. You need to use the useState and useEffect hooks so import them at the top of the file. Okay, interesting. Next, create the debounce function. Where is it? Here is it. So, here is it. The debounce value, well, basically I understand what is being done here. So now let's go on. Use effect is where the magic really happens. If you can recall from the previous lecture, anything that exists outside of the React rendering cycle. So the React rendering cycle is the trigger, render, and commit. You then return within the useEffect hook. Here you use set timeout to set the debounce value. Use the return. You then return a clean function that uses clear timeout to clear the previous timeout whenever value or delay changes or the component amount. Okay, I see. So because when we are talking of this use effect, we spoke of dependencies array. So dependency array. Okay, and dependency array are the elements. Let me say that on which, let me say that use effect so looks like we are on which use effect looks before operating the use effect logic in this function. So so yes, the footballer array. Let me say, let us use this hook. We have prepared a footballer array to filter through a simple search bar with a simple search bar. Okay, here is the number of football arrays. I know how many of them. I know Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah, Sergio Ramos, Joshua Kimmich, Manuel Neuer, Eden Hazard, Sterling, Bruno Fernandes, Luka Modric, Casemiro, N'Golo Kante, Pulisic, DJ Drogba, Frank Lampard, Angel Di Maria, there's no Samuel Eto'o, Casemiro, bon, nevertheless, Frankie de Jong. And here is a footballer search component that uses a debounce hook to display searching for 1 second after the user stopped typing. So good search useState. Wow, interesting. And we have the useState query here, which use this bound. It's pretty complicated. So when they use the bounce query is being changed, then this code is being run. So we first of all check if it's empty or not, and then we use this filter function to select all players lowercase footballers that's included in the debounce query. So we do a comparison and we console log the result. So interesting. So now let us go on to the question. 1 minute as usual. What is a notable benefit of creating a custom hook in React? It makes component render fast. It allows us to reuse logic across multiple components. It replaces the need of building nope. It forces components to share the same state. Nope. What's the correct naming convention used for React hooks? What will you call a custom hook that toggles a value use toggle? No. So basically that is it all. Now we shall go on to the project. It's project time. So now let us build in a fruit search app. Okay, and afterward, I think that there will be this data fetching and memorization. It will basically be the last live I'll be doing on React. So let us try and build this up. See what's coming on. So let's try fruit. Let's say potato is not a fruit. Rice is not a fruit. Let's say orange. I was trying to look for an uncommon food. let's say arrow. Arrow is not fruit, sorry. Voila. So now let us build it from scratch. The first step here is first make a fruit search component. Make your fruit return a div element with id search container. So return, let's put this braces, this guy, div with id search container. Okay. Next, you will create a form where users can search fruits. Inside the search container element, create a form element. If I think so, it should be like this. Create a form element. To next part. So inside the form element, add a label element. Oh, I see. The label element is for the name search label. Element. Your label element should have the text search fruits. Search for fruits. And an HTML for attribute with HTML for attributes with name, search, input. So that's it. Pretty nice. Here's it, guys. So inside the form element, after the label and an input, add an input with id search input and type of search. Okay. So what we are doing here is simple HTML. So id is equals to search and type is equals to search. I don't think now I need to add this thing here. Okay. So here's a change here. So in React, controlled import are standard ways to handle form data. where input value are synchronized with the component state. So my form, blah blah blah, use state. Okay, you will learn more about this pattern in future lessons. To track what the users type into the search field, create a state variable named query. Okay, state variable query. And with an initial value. So I think state variable. See again. Okay. Why did it ask me to create state variable query? Say set query. And initial value is like use state elements and an empty string. Okay, correct. Let's move on to the next part. And then this guy again. And this guy. Okay. So when the user type into the input field, a list of routes should appear that match the query. To handle this, create a state variable called result, okay, with an initial value of an empty array. Okay, so const result set result. So basically is this guy is being used use state an empty array. Okay, we understand. So to handle this, so when the user type into the input field, a list of fruit should appear. Okay, there's a change, so therefore there will be this. It makes sense to use state. Results. So now I'm buying the input display value to the React state by adding a value attribute to search input to your search input set to query state. Okay, value equals to query state. Query, no, not query state. I think it should be yes, query. What does it mean to be set into? Yes, a query state. Because of this parenthesis. There's an error. Okay. Bind the input display value to your React state by adding value attribute to your search input set to the query state value. What am I supposed to do here? I don't really see it. So let me ask a little bit ChatGPT if what am I doing around here? That's what I did. So the next step here is, so let me see. There are 21 steps. So let me just add an unchanged attribute to the input. To capture what the users type and set it to an arrow function. No, it's not a good approach. I have started recently read code. I have done 50 questions good. Facing and logic building, I am thinking about using to do about 150, including with the help of ChatGPT. So, okay, to do it with ChatGPT is not good because as the fact that your ChatGPT is doing the lead coding stuff is there to make sure that you learn how to code. It's not to make sure that ChatGPT answer it. It should make sure that you're see ChatGPT even saw it here. Use on query. This is here. I'm sure if I put it here, it will give me the same thing. I'm very sure. I said it. That this guy was wonderful. So guys, I will not be able to, I think, to finish this thing during the live because I have some other appointment. So basically, thank you for watching. We shall meet another day for another live. Normally, now there are two people that are watching, so thank you guys. So we shall meet another day for the live. So guys should have a nice day, nice evening, and